What up, Double Deuce? It's good to see you. All right, so looks like our virtual OPD is going to be a thing now that we're all doing what we can to get around this virus and keep the mission moving and ensure our level of training and proficiency, and that applies to our OPDs as well. So welcome to you and any Dover dudes who might be trolling this channel. Um, so what we're going to do for these OPDs is kind of I was going to make them like a lecture format, but I realized that was kind of boring. So we're going to do this sort of podcast thing where I'm going to do these maybe 10-minute videos, and then we're going to follow them up with a web chat, for people who have questions about what we're talking about, to bring things up and maybe expand on some points. So I'll have the slides here. I'll post them on SharePoint because I do have a lot of notes. If you guys are interested in what else we have to say there. So for this one in particular, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the virtual OPD thing we got going on. We're going to talk about big focus areas for the year to come. We're going to talk about Chief Pilot desired qualities that we're going to focus on, and then we're going to talk about the actual OPDs that we have planned for the month of April. One quick disclaimer about these OPDs: any rebroadcast, retransmission, or account of these OPDs without the express written consent of Major League Baseball or the Chief Pilot is prohibited. All right, let's move on to the next one. We got officer focus areas. These are the things we want to focus on for the next 12 months for the officer course. So technical competence, obviously, Vol 1 stuff, mandated training, CT, GRAC are going to all go towards that. Technical skill is critical to ensuring safety and credibility, so we're going to focus on that. Taking charge of the squadron, we're going to have various projects available for officers to promote ownership, morale, and identity, to kind of build those qualities, but also realize, like, dude, we're in a combat flying squadron, and that really means something, that we get to do some awesome things. So we want to take charge, lead our enlisted, and develop that pride in the unit. And the third thing we're going to focus on is developing leaders with vision and purpose. The next slide with the desired qualities are going to get at that. I want to highlight the word leader, though, because we do want to develop great pilots, but the difference between a job and a profession, it's not just about the technical skills. We want to make better officers, better people, not just for success in the squadron, but for future endeavors and outside the Air Force as a whole. So these are the things we want to get after. Breaking it out further, we're going to look at, as the Chief Pilot, what desired qualities we want to get after. And these are going to underpin all the OPDs and projects that we're going to go after for the next year. So empathy, really the backbone of leadership, understanding others and what they're going through, so you can help them, overcome limitations. A quick aside, I remember empathy came up for me in SOS. When you first show up, they start talking about their leadership model, and here's all these qualities, and they ask you, what's the one quality that you need to work on the most? And I found most of us operations type people, we put empathy, and I think that's because we've been raised up as get her done. We get the mission done, no excuses. We press, and we're surrounded by highly competent people usually. So we kind of view empathy as babying or giving excuses to people. But over the time, I realized that really empathy is just, it's like an AC on the road when things start going wrong. You have to start taking into account the limb facts and considerations for other people, other agencies, and helping them overcome those limitations. It's about getting to yes and getting the mission done, and empathy helps you do that. Secondly, we're going to get at self-awareness. I mean, there's a textbook definition about knowing yourself, your motives and desires, but to me, it's also about situational awareness and an organizational setting. So we want to help our officers in the squadron know who you are, but kind of where you are in relation to the unit and what's going on around you, what you can do to succeed, and what you can do to help others to succeed. And that's all about self-awareness. And third, peer leadership. Um, I think it's the hardest type of leadership there is. If we all understand followership and the importance of followership, but we don't want to just focus on that because then we'd have a bunch of sycophants. Uh, you can lead leaders because the Air Force is very open, to taking ideas from the lowest levels. But if we just focused on that, you might run into a situation where you have a lot of individuals who are just, seeking attention. Look at me, one-upmanship. I think peer leadership really drives you to do those other two things. Lead subordinates and kind of direct the vision of your superiors. But it's the ultimate check, sanity check. Leading your peers and making sure you're doing right by everybody. So there's our 3 desired qualities. I'm going to come in with a word from our sponsor. We don't have a sponsor yet, but in these times, it's important to buy locally. So today I got me some Heretic Orangey Passionate. Really good stuff, like a lot of Heretics IPAs. You do have a little bit of hoppiness, but it's really balanced with the tartness of the fruit. So this one's pretty good. Give it a try. Next year, so this is what we're going to talk about in April: setting and managing expectations. Why? Well, we want to clarify the rules of the road for people. Um, when you first show up, you don't know what you don't know. So we're going to kind of talk about how things work, uh, where you fit into that, how you can succeed, what the squadron expects of you, and in turn, what support you can expect from the squadron. It's not going to be fully comprehensive, but like we're going to talk about some general points, and then we're gonna open up for discussion on Thursday when we do our little chat room. So it'll open a dialogue because we want honest brokerage. Like we don't have secrets about how we manage our people. There's not like a good old boy club. It's pretty transparent, but you should know what qualities are important, and we should equip you with that so you can kind of gauge your performance and know where to focus your energy. We also want to get after bad perception, right? Like I didn't get this job because so and so likes so and so. The cynicism, like the system sucks. I'm getting screwed over. Rumor mill. We want to get at that because if you understand how things work and kind of how things are racked and stacked and where the priorities are, and sometimes where circumstance just happens to interject, you can kind of accept that and kind of work with the system instead of playing the victim and thinking the system is out to get you. So that's kind of what this is all about, to kind of open the kimono a little bit and let you know what's going on. And I think that's empowering. Here's specifically what we're going to look at week to week. So OPD 1, things that can control. So we're working kind of inside out. For that first one, we're going to talk about currency, PT, developing battle rhythm, positive and effective attitudes and behaviors that lead to success, not only in the squadron but beyond, and any other topics you might want to talk about. The second one, we're going to talk about things that are more internal to the squadron. So scheduling, right? How that works, upgrades, jobs, how those things are chosen, how you can kind of get what you're looking for and manage your goals. The third one, things the Air Force controls. These are kind of bigger picture things, but the squadron definitely has an input. So we'll talk about PCSs, assignments, deployments, special duties, schools, stuff that'll pop up that you may look into for career development, or things that might pop up that, like deployments that you may or may not expect. Here's kind of the rules of the road about those and what you can expect. OPD 4 is going to be taking care of others and yourself. We'll talk about how to manage yourself on the road, how to be a servant leader. We'll touch on career management, not necessarily bullet writing awards. Uh, we'll talk about bullet writing awards, but we're not gonna dive into ribbon charts or anything like that right away. This would be a good opportunity on that OPD for the more experienced people to contribute with some things I wish I knew, like maintaining a logbook or keeping a journal, things that you're doing to set yourself up for success that you wish you knew as a lieutenant. So there's kind of the overview. That's for April. For May, we're looking at 4 weekly OPDs where we're going to do enlisted perspectives, kind of how their career structure is, loadmasters, FEs, things that they've seen, success and failure over the years. So there's kind of a peek behind what we're working at. I also want to throw out a book of the month each month. If you haven't read this one, it's one of my favorites, How to Win Friends and Influence People. I try to read it once a year as best I can. It's kind of dated, obviously. It came out in, I think, the 30s, but it's really good stuff. I wish I had read it years before I had read it. So if you haven't read it, please get yourself a copy. And if you have, it's probably good to refresh. We might talk about, some points later in the month as we progress. All right, so I got some homework. So what we're going to do is this video should come out on Wednesday morning, 1 April. Thursday, 2 April at 10 a.m. local, we're going to do a Jammin' with Joey. So Joey Hinojosa and myself, we're going to pop up in one of the Cisco rooms. We'll release the info via Slack, and we'll just talk about stuff. This is more for TransFlight, younger type people, but the more seasoned dudes are and ladies are welcome as well. Some things I want you to consider as discussion points, because we'll be calling out and maybe trying to get some discussion going. How can we better develop peer leaders? What kind of techniques can we utilize to be better at peer leadership or leaders within a group? Also, I'd like you to think about what are your own top 3 leadership traits. I threw out some ones the Chief Pilot Office wants to focus on, but for you as a leader, what do you look for in, say, young enlisted, a young FE, young loadmaster, young lieutenant? What do you look for in others? What stands out to you as valuable? I'd be interested in hearing your thoughts on that. And then also, what OPD topics would you like to see in the future? Obviously, with this sort of web application, we can package and distribute these talks at any time, and I'm willing to do the work. If there's something that you guys really want to know about, I'll find a speaker, or we'll do the research and we'll get it to you, because the goal is to make everyone better, not just be satisfied with where we're at. So let me know what OPD topics you would like to see. That concludes this introductory OPD. Hope to see everybody in the chat room on Thursday. Please throw something in the comments if you like, or we'll see you in that web chat. That's all I got. Hope you all have a good night, and cheers.